back to Sankofa Life TV. I'm Dr. Keefa Lorraine Weatherspoon. Joining me in studio, a woman I have great respect and admiration for. She is the director of the Detroit Center for Sukyo Mahikari. Joining us in studio, Tina Chitwood. Welcome to Sankofa Life TV.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Good, good. So I'm so happy that you agreed to come, because we have a lot of our viewers that are asking questions that I think that we can give them some answers to today. One of the questions that they're asking very often is, how can they develop their life more fully? They feel like there's something missing. A lot of folks are searching and looking for a link that will make life more meaningful, give greater purpose and dimension. And whenever somebody asks me something like that, I automatically go to our spiritual development. And one of the things that I love about what we're going to introduce today is that folks can really get involved personally. It's not just something that they can read and study. So our subject today is
Sukyo Mahikari.
Sukyo Mahikari. So for our audience, the first timers, what is Sukyo and what is Mahikari? And maybe we need to spell it.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Sukyo Mahikari. Sukyo means universal principles. And these are principles that apply to everyone. Doesn't matter what your background is. It's just like gravity. Gravity is a universal principle. So we learn these universal principles, so that's a Sukyo. Sukyo is universal principles, and Mahikari means true light, or the art of the true light, or an energy, a light energy. So if you take these two aspects, when you take these two aspects and work them together, utilize them both together, they help you to go forward spiritually.
So we can actually start to grow. You know what I realized? That according to how our life is structured, our educational system allows us to grow mentally, we grow physically, and we become from children to adults. In our educational system, we develop and mature mentally, but sometimes we kind of stumble through our spiritual maturity. So Sukyo Mahikari, S-U-K-Y-O, Sukyo, universal principles. Okay, let's talk about that one for a moment.
Okay.
Some of the universal principles. What are some of the laws of the universe?
I think one of the easiest for people to understand is gratitude, the importance of gratitude in one's life. That gratitude, even the practice of gratitude, that doesn't mean you always have to feel grateful, but the practice of gratitude can actually detox the body. And they can actually start the melting process of the spiritual impurities. Jesus said that if you think it in your mind, you've already sinned, because he knew this principle that it imprints on our spiritual body.
Okay.
So these universal principles, so the practice of gratitude, there's actually about 3 levels of gratitude.
3 levels of gratitude.
Right. The very first level is start to become aware of the blessings that we have.
Okay.
That you woke up this morning, that you can move your hands, that your eyes are bright and shiny.
Okay.
That you're breathing, that you woke up this morning.
Gratitude for our life.
So just start offering gratitude all day long for what we have. And the second level of gratitude is a little more difficult. This is the level of gratitude where we start to really see God's arrangement in our whole life.
Okay.
And his arrangement in our whole life is sometimes we have good things happen and sometimes we have bad things happen. The good and the bad are there as testing and training of us.
Okay.
And to help us to move spiritually. So we learn to offer gratitude during the bad times and during the good times.
And gratitude for everything.
So that's the second level of gratitude.
Okay.
Okay,
So
the third level of gratitude is, I'm very grateful. Let me show you. So I'm going to show you through my actions of serving you and others.
Yeah, so gratitude is not just what we say, it's what we do as well.
Right. Gratitude is a reciprocal. In order to really manifest gratitude, there has to be, you give.
There's got to be an action behind it.
Yes, you appreciate to something, to someone. So
Okay.
this is what we do with God.
Yeah, so saying it and not doing it is like what one of the quotes says, it's like wrapping a gift and not giving it.
Yes, right.
So we have to really do something to demonstrate our debt of gratitude. I look at my life and how much my life has changed just by learning these simple universal principles, but more importantly, living them. And, you know, the principles of life, since they govern everything, it just kind of makes sense that we start to look at how we're practicing them. We had a young woman that called one day, and she was just so depressed. And I remember some of the teachings that you have been sharing at our center about gratitude, and I offered that to her. And I know when I started doing it, one day you said, say thank you 5,000 times in a day. Now,
Yes.
that sounds like a lot, and it is. By the way, it's a lot, because if you look at it, even if you're saying it every second, thank you, it's a lot. But by the time I was into it for about a minute, not even 2 minutes, just into it, I just got this overwhelming feeling of emotion, and I started sobbing. So now the caller is calling in on the phone, and I'm telling her mom is sick and her mom is dying, and this is happening. She just had so much going on. And I said, just start saying thank you. And thank you for everything that you can think that you're grateful for. And before she got off the phone, she was sobbing. She said, I feel so much better.
Right, right.
And
That's
it's a simple
exactly it.
practice, you know? But
It's a simple practice, but it's very profound, very
Yeah.
deep, because
Yeah.
it goes right into the very core of our being. Because God's light comes forth when you do that.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to stay depressed and negative when you're saying thank you.
That's true.
It's
That's
hard to
true.
stay in that zone. And so
Actually, there's been studies done on this, that Dr. Emmons did all this testing on gratitude. He studied gratitude for 20 years. And one of the findings was that he had control group, and they gave Prozac to one group, and the other one they had a gratitude journal. And the gratitude journal, actually the people who stayed on the gratitude journal for the 6 months were able to continue being positive 6 months later.
wow,
So it was very, very
very
nice.
profound.
Yeah, very profound.
You're watching Sankofa Live TV. Our guest in studio this afternoon is Tina Chitwood, and she's the director of the Sukyo Mahikari Center for Detroit and for Michigan. And we've been talking about the whole concept of the meaning of Sukyo and Mahikari. And we have a lot more to share with you, so you just stay tuned, and we're going to be right back. Joining us in studio is the director of the Detroit Center of Sukyo Mahikari, Tina. I like to call her Elizabeth as well, Chitwood. And we've been talking about Sukyo Mahikari, the art of true light and the universal and divine principles. And so we're going to continue our conversation. We left off talking about gratitude. I love the subject.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of training with gratitude.
Very much.
Yeah, but it does really just elevate the body, and it is a very powerful healing vibration. So, yeah. So that was Sukyo. Sukyo is universal principles.
Right.
And then let's describe what Mahikari is, and I'll spell it for our audience. That's Mahikari, Mahikari, and it means?
It means true light.
True light.
This is a light energy that we learn how to give to another person.
Okay. So we give the art of true light. So let's talk a little bit more about Mahikari, so that the audience gets a little bit, because when we say light energy, a lot of people are getting familiar with this principle of light and the principle of energy. So let's talk about Mahikari.
So this light energy is all around us, but through the founder we've been able to learn how to focus it and how to direct it. And this light energy purifies three aspects, really. It purifies the spiritual body, and the spiritual body has an impact on the mental body, and then that affects the physical body.
Okay.
But our main purpose with the art of true light is to purify the spiritual aspect and work on the spiritual development of a person.
So some folks watching may say that, well, everybody is light, everybody has light. So this light energy that is being offered or radiated, let's talk a little bit more about that, so that they can get a clearer vision. We know that there's an opportunity for folks to come and be a part of an introduction, a presentation, so that they can, more in depth than what we're doing here on the show today, get a clear understanding and an opportunity for them to experience it.
Right.
So
it's just like you always say, it's hard to When I tell you about water, it's different when you drink water.
Right, you
As
can't
it's
describe
saying-
it.
You can't
know?
describe it.
Yeah.
So the light energy, it is really an experiential kind of thing.
Okay.
And it affects each person differently because each person has is unique
Okay.
and has a unique spiritual relationship with the universe,
With God, yeah.
with God.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like that analogy where you can't describe it. It's like if I tried to describe water, my description of water is not water. Water is of a different dimension.
Right.
So if I say water is wet, you don't know wet unless you drink the water. So if we describe the light, then it's not that. It's an energy that you can experience. So let's talk about some of the benefits of it.
Some of the benefits.
Just purifying the spiritual aspect. What are some of the benefits of us making that part of our lifestyle?
Various aspects of our life start to change step by step. Our growth is a gradual process. It's a step-by-step process.
That's one of those universal laws, isn't
right.
it?
Yes, it is a universal law that, and the same thing with us. We don't grow, just like a tree cannot grow in a day, it will not have strong roots.
Okay.
So the same with us. When you receive this light energy many times, what happens is you start to watch various changes in your life. Like we had someone come just the other day, and she received light, and came mainly because she was concerned about her father, who had had an aneurysm and was in the hospital.
Okay.
She received light, walked out the door, and they called her from the hospital and said her father came out of the coma and he's sitting up.
Wow.
That's how fast. So I could not have even told her that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So various changes will occur individually to help her, to develop.
Yeah, so some that may be watching may be asking, how did she receive light and it affect her father? So let's kind of give a little clarity on the connection there.
Okay, all of us are connected with others through spiritual cords.
Right.
Some spiritual cords are thicker between mother and children,
Mm-hmm.
and some are a little less sometimes between us and our friends.
Yeah.
So all of us are connected by spiritual cords.
Okay.
And through these spiritual cords, father and daughter, not only did she come, but then she asked her sister to come.
Okay.
And then her sister's cousin. So all of these things affected the spiritual aspect of their family.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was allowed to raise.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some powerful things
Yeah, me
occur
too.
too, and it's unbelievable, especially when we couple the light with a change of attitude.
Right.
Because when we're able to open our heart and ask God to really help us work through situations, when we offer gratitude through demonstration, when we offer apology for our shortcomings, and sometimes we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but when things start to occur and we look at our lives and say, hey, I need to change, then we realize that there is this feeling of regret, sometimes apology, for things that we have not understood and made choices that we want to change and improve. But we're in a season right now where it is just so powerful, and to me it's so special that we get a chance to wake up and realize that we can improve our own lives and position ourselves to help others to improve their life as well.
We're at a very important time in human history. This is such a very special time that we're allowed to be born.
So why do you think the light has come at this time? Why is there 1 million people?
1 million people
In Sukyo,
getting light.
Mahikari, real word. Why do you think God has arranged this at this time?
I think because we're going toward a spiritual civilization, we're going toward a spiritual way of understanding. And to have this kind of an attitude to grow spiritually, I like to think of Mahikari as miracle growth for the soul.
Wow.
Because it is a quick process.
Yeah, it kind of accelerates
Right,
things.
it
Yeah, we can
accelerates
speed it up. So, wow, a lot has been said and a lot more needs to be understood. And so we're going to just close in our final segment when we come back from our break and let folks know where they can have this experience of light and get a presentation and a clear understanding. And there's a website that they can visit, so we're going to give all of that.
Okay.
I'm Dr.Keefa, Lorraine Weatherspoon. Thank you so much for watching Sankofa Life TV. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sankofa Life TV. I'm Dr. Keefa Lorraine Weatherspoon. Boy, I'm enjoying this day. I'm enjoying this subject, Sukyo Mahikari, and I'm appreciating our guest, Tina Chitwood. She's our founder and, she's our director of the Detroit Center of Sukyo Mahikari. Actually, you're part of that founding of the Center of Detroit. So we really appreciate that you have stuck in here so that some of us that are coming into the knowledge of developing our spirituality have a place that we can turn to now and experience this light. So let's kind of let folks know where they can come. And how did you get involved in this?
I got involved in it at a teacher training. I was a Montessori teacher, and so I was going for the elementary training, and there was a lady in the back of the row that had violent headaches, and we weren't allowed to miss one moment of the class.
Okay.
So she was dying in the back of the room, and about halfway through the class, she said, "I'm feeling better." And she looked better, and she said, "I'm going to this really different kind of place. They wear a full suit and no shoes. Will you come with me?" And I said, "No." But the following summer, we were tested in this training program, and by this time, she was radiating this light energy. And every time she raised her hand, my whole body vibrated, so I knew something was happening.
Was she offering you the light, or she was?
No, she was
just
giving other people light.
Wow, okay.
And I could feel the energy. So I asked her, I had just come out of the hospital with an ultrasound with fibroid cysts throughout my uterus and breast. And so she radiated this light energy to me one evening just before I came back to Detroit, as we were in Ohio. And completely forgot about it. It was a wonderful experience, but I thought, okay, that's nice. That was 30 years ago. And then I started a monthly period that kept going more and more, and I had clots coming out, and I actually thought I was hemorrhaging. So I called her and asked her, could what you did to me be doing this? And she said, "You are so lucky, they're all coming out." And I went back for an ultrasound, and they were all gone.
They were all gone.
So it caught my attention, and within a month I took the training.
Wow.
I was so excited about it.
So you've been part of the evolutionary force here in the Detroit, Michigan area, and bringing this to the community and to the world. So.
I didn't want to leave it in Chicago and Cincinnati. I wanted to bring it here, that intense light energy.
Yeah, yeah. And so we have an opportunity almost 7 days a week, I should say 7 days a week, to experience the light. But there's a special opportunity coming up to get more information as well. So we want to take time to let our audience know where the Detroit Center for Sukyo Mahikari is located, the website. They want to call. Do you want them to call or just visit the website? It's up to you.
Either way.
Either way. So we'll give them the information. When people ask me anything about wellness, I always try to include how important it is that we take care of ourselves spiritually, mentally, and physically. When they find out that you're a naturopathic doctor, it automatically is assumed that you're going to tell them vitamins and minerals for the body.
Right.
So when I come with this, what we call holistic perspective, which is spirit, mind, and body, then people kind of start thinking a little bit deeper about their circumstances, and we realize that sometimes we have karmic patterns or patterns in the past. We have chosen things or done things that have produced certain results. And so now we want to change what's showing up, so we need to do something different. So how can the light help us to improve our life? And we'll close on this.
How can
the light, just from your own personal experience, how has the light helped to improve your life?
I think my life personally has changed by at least 180 or 360 degrees. Somebody said to me recently that how you came into this world and how you're going to leave it are totally different. To have a positive way of looking at life, to have a path that can sustain you spiritually and help you to move forward and deepen your relationship with God, and the benefits are just unbelievable.
Are eternal.
Yes, they are eternal.
And so before we leave in the 1 minute we have left, I think it's important that we mention, because we talk a lot about God, that people of all faiths can receive and give light. And so I think we should mention that it's not a religion, it is an art of spiritual development.
It's an art of purification, and it's, even though sometimes It is registered as a religious organization. It is open to all faiths. It's actually a global interfaith community service organization. I think that sums up everything.
Sums up everything.
So,
People of all nationalities, all beliefs, all cultures, all religions practice the art of true light
and
with
even
Sukyo
if they're
Mahikari.
atheist, I mean, even if they don't believe in a higher being, they still can benefit from Mahikari and the practice.
Our guest today has been Elizabeth Tina Chitwood. She is the director of the Detroit, Michigan Center for Sukyo Mahikari. It's a lot to experience, it's a lot to learn, it's a lot to know. It all begins with that first step. So you can take steps today to start to improve your life and position yourself to help us as a volunteer service organization improve the life of others. I'm Dr.Keefa Lorraine Weatherspoon. I want to thank our guests so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.